Hey, aloha, everybody. Welcome to the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Dylan Nonaka, and I'm about to bring in my friends here. We're just getting the internets warmed up right now as everybody starts to join us. We'll kick off officially at 10 a.m., but I wanted to bring in all my friends and go around the horn and see what's happening around the state. Everybody knows our longtime co-host and contributor, Ashley Wasson from Oahu. What's happening on Oahu, Ashley?
The sun is back out and I'm warming up. So it was rainy and windy for a few days there when we got back from Japan, and I was wearing slippers and socks, and I probably overkill, but finally getting warmth and I love it.
So is that why you missed the last show? You were in Japan? Is that why you were
Yeah, we went
excused?
snowboarding in Naozawa Onsen, and we went to Tokyo Disney Sea, and it snowed. It just dumped, and it doesn't normally snow in Tokyo. And we went down underground, and it was like sunny and beautiful. And then we came out, and it was like a winter storm. Like they were going in my eyeballs. I had to like let them defrost in my eye. It's great.
Killer,
Loved
killer.
it.
I've been hearing about snowboarding in Japan being great. We actually went to Tahoe during Christmas break too. So I was snowboarding also during
Was there
between.
snow?
But we got super lucky. We landed on Christmas Eve in Sacramento and drove up, and it just started snowing that day. So it's kind of treacherous, like it was kind of icy and stuff. But we made it into Tahoe, and then it just dumped snow all day on Christmas, like winter Christmas. I mean, it was like the perfect winter wonderland. And we went with my brother-in-law and his three little girls. And so like it was just so super cool. Like Christmas morning, walking outside to go eat breakfast, and it was like snowing and it just raining around. It was like one of those magical moments, right? You cannot
Epic.
plan, right?
That's
Yeah, just
amazing. Oh my
super epic.
God.
They're just it took like 20 minutes to walk like one block because they were just making snowballs and throwing them at each other the whole time. Like it
I
was great.
love
So
it.
yeah, so we're talking about the Japan. We gotta try the Japan trip one of these days to snowboard
I'll give
there.
you all the
So
tips. The town we stayed in, we've done it a couple times. This was our favorite for sure.
awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, well, let's keep going around the state while we get warmed up here. We got Mike Farrell over on Maui, first time on the show. Super stoked to have him on here. What's happening over in Maui, Mike?
Hey guys, aloha. Good morning. As a Colorado native, I will say that I am not missing the snow, and I am glad that I did not have a winter wonderland to play in. But that's all right. When you grow up on the islands and you don't get that all the time or have never seen it, I'm sure it's a lot of fun. Growing up and
Abs-
dealing with it, I don't miss it. I traded the snowboard for a surfboard, and it's embarrassing to say, but when it gets below 70 degrees now, I'm cold. Like I need a jacket at 68 degrees. So we've
awesome.
got beautiful sunny weather here in Kihei in South Maui. It's 78 degrees right now. And yeah, it's Aloha Friday. So let's have a good show.
Let's go. Let's go. All right. And then we got Kat Mobley over on Kauai. She's been on a couple of times before. What's happening on Kauai?
Aloha, everyone. Kauai is nice and beautiful today. Sunny, sunny weather. And yes, I hear you, Mike. I grew up in cold, cold weather. So, yeah, me, if it's less than 72, I'm like chilly. so, so, Kauai's going well. I just got back from Atlanta for vacation and I was expecting like 10-degree weather, but it was like 65 and 70 for most of the time. And then one day it got down to like 30. And that day was just like, nope, I'm not going outside. Nope, can't do it. So glad to be back though. Now it's just kind of like dusting off the holiday,
Getting
everything
back
and
into the
fog
groove.
and getting back into the swing of things. So I'm happy to
Absolutely.
be
Absolutely.
here. Happy Aloha Friday,
Awesome.
everyone.
Stoked to have you. And of course, our longtime co-host and contributor, Misty Padilla, is on. Misty, how was your holidays?
Good morning, everyone. I am still in my holiday spirit. I warned my family that we're leaving our holiday decoration up probably till Easter.
At that
So
point, then you just wait till Thanksgiving and then it just stays up the whole year, right?
right, we'll just do a year round and theme it out all the way through. It just everything just happened so quickly, and I really just took the last few months, taking time to be, and I just felt like everything was just such a rush for 2025 that I just want to take a little bit longer and prolong the festivities and just embrace
Absolutely.
it.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, that was perfect, guys. It is 10 a.m. So let's get started here. Again, if you're just joining us, guys, you're here for the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Um, for the longtime listeners, you know, Peter, we did a send off in December on our last show. He is officially retired. We may bring him back as a special guest here and there, but we're taking over, and you'll see a new crop of contributors from all the different islands, and super stoked to have all of those new perspectives and ideas. And so we'll get right into it, guys. So we did the warm up. So let me get a quick news rundown. So some of the highlights of news this past couple of weeks. We were talking about the snow and the winter weather, but on the Big Island, we got our first snow of the year last week. It's been this weird storm that's kind of been going across all of the islands, and we're actually getting it here on the Big Island today. It's been a rainy day, but always cool. It didn't last very long, but it did snow briefly on Mauna Kea, and I'm sure there's going to be more of that coming up. We got this tourist related tax change. So there's a bunch of new taxes that are being put into effect. So if you're looking to visit, there's some new taxes that take effect January 1st. But one of the big stories around this is that they were going to charge cruise ships like an additional 11% cabin fee for the tourists that were or guests on the cruise ship, and the cruise ships immediately filed suit, and that's actually been put on hold because I think there's some issues around it being in federal waters, and the state can't tax stuff that's happening in federal jurisdiction. So we'll see how that plays out. But we always touch on like the tax stuff, but that's one thing that the state of Hawaii is doing, is always trying to make more money and tax more things, and so that's happening on the tourist side. MacNut labeling. So this is a thing we've talked about on the show before, that there are always issues around Kona coffee and proper labeling, and people branding things as Kona coffee when they really have 90% Colombian coffee and it's just 10% Kona coffee. But they're doing the same with MacNut labeling now, where you will be required to label where the MacNuts came from in the different candies and things that we sell around the islands. This is probably a good thing to protect the MacNut industry here. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of the MacNuts that you buy that have like Hawaii branding on them are like grown in Australia. They're not even grown in Hawaii. So that's a good change for that local ag economy. And then something that's always been a hot topic, and maybe we'll talk about this a little bit here, is the Maui vacation rental bill passed, and there was now, like we predicted, immediately a lawsuit filed to challenge it. And so we'll see how that plays out. I think we're a long ways off, and maybe Mike, if you got some updates or boots on the ground reaction to this. I mean, what are you hearing over there in Maui about the new vacation rental law that passed, but then of course not going into effect for a while, and there's already some challenges to it?
Well, it's highly controversial in that first we should probably back up just a little bit and note that it's not all vacation rentals. I own a vacation rental here in Kihei in South Maui, so I am directly impacted by it. But the big misconception that I hear from investors or even just long-term visitors to the island is that they're phasing out all vacation rentals on Maui. So no more condos will be available for rent. That's not true. There are a lot of complexes are hotel zoned. Those aren't on the chopping block. Those are protected. Those are allowed and were originally zoned to be vacation rentals. What Bill 9 is aiming to do, and what did get passed, is they want to phase out about 7,000 additional units that have been operating legally under the Minatoya list as short-term vacation rentals for like 30 years. The issue with those complexes, those properties, is the zoning designation. These complexes that are legally operating are currently zoned A1 or A2, so apartment zoning, which the proponents of the bill are saying that these were never supposed to be vacation rentals. They're not zoned hotel zoning. So when they passed Bill 9, it put 7,000 units on the chopping block, but we had a temporary investigative group that met, I believe, in October, that went around to all of these complexes, and whatever their parameters were, they said that this complex is better suited for long-term rentals, and for local housing, this complex is better suited to remain as a short-term vacation rental. So it's really clouding the market for tourism. It's definitely clouding the market for investors. Condo sales in Maui were down 40%. Median price was down 40% from 2024. So it's having a big impact on the condo industry here, the tourism industry, It's not necessarily directly relating or affecting the residential market here. So
Yeah, we
that provide a little clarity on what's actually going on with that bill.
absolutely. That's a good kind of lead into to we'll talk about the market here in a second and the kind of wrap up from 2025. But yeah, it's important to understand, I think, around this whole topic because we've had some inquiries this week from folks that were concerned about actually buying a vacation rental on Kauai because of the stuff that's going on Maui. And a lot of times there's a misunderstanding around each county individually governs their vacation rental regulations. And like on Kauai, Kat, if you can give us a quick summary, right, of what that regulation looks like. I always tell folks my perspective is that Kauai is the most stable. Like if they're your guys' laws have been in place for a very long time. There really isn't any proposals to change anything. So if you want some stability in terms of an investment, Kauai is a good place to make it. But would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. The the laws have been in place for a while, and it's just basically here on Kauai, we have a visitor destination area, so it's called the VDA. Any properties in the VDA, you're able to use as short-term vacation rentals, and it's just in the most popular areas where it's mostly tour, mostly vacation destinations like Poipu, Princeville, along the coastline, all the condos along the coastline. And so, if you're not in the VDA, tough luck. You ain't going to have a short-term vacation rental. And people always think that, you can apply for a TVNC, transient vacation non-conforming license permit. However, Kauai County is not issuing any new ones. So if you do find a property, a single family home that's outside of the VDA and it has a TVNC license, it's like a unicorn property and it's going to reflect in the value.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's a good takeaway here too, right? It's like every county has like these like different acronyms and names for things and stuff. So it's super important that you reach out to us and we can kind of help you through that process specifically because it's different on all the islands. Is there anything on the horizon, Ashley or Misty, on Big Island or Oahu that we want to note around vacation rentals?
Nothing we haven't on Oahu addressed in past shows. It's 2025. They changed the short-term vacation rental definition from 30 days to 90 days. But again, that's super hard to be able to identify, and the amount of bandwidth that the state has to try to confirm if someone was previously doing 30 days is probably going to be too cumbersome for them to enforce that 90-day law, unless if it's new construction, newly built. If it was built after 2025, then that would be pretty easy.
So all of these little nuances and details.
Yeah,
Misty, anything to add? Yeah.
You hit it on point, Dylan, is things are changing so much. So yes, definitely reach out to us. Every county and state is so different. It's not what's good for one is good for the other. They're changing all the time. So yeah, reach out to us for that.
Awesome. Okay, so moving on. I mean, we always beat the vacation rental horse all the time, but that was a big development over on Maui, so we wanted to touch on that. So let's get into our market report, guys, and go around the horn and talk about what's going on around the state. Do you want to kick us off, Ashley? I'll bring up your slides here. There we go.
Yeah. I will give you guys the slide here. I have one for December, and I think I have a second slide for the entire year, since this is my first show back on in the new year. So a 2025 recap. You guys can leave those slides up, but I'm just going to give you a general quick overview. 2025 as a closing just encompassed stability rather than anything extreme. So it was pretty straightforward. There was no booming or crashing. It was just slow and steady. In fact, I probably just didn't see a boom simply for mortgage rates and insurance costs, and then just the unknowns of general administrations and economy influence that as well. Our housing market actually was up 0.6% for the entire year. That was heavily carried by single families. So single families is what was up 3.5%. Condos were down over 1%, and sales themselves. As far as the actual prices, single families were up also 3.5% compared to last year. Condos were down 1.5%. And so again, single family homes days on market was only 23, condos was 44. So we're seeing a trend here, right? Single families carried the weight of that positive market direction, while condos softened a little bit, just giving buyers more options. I would say, what does this mean for the upcoming market? buyers just still have choices, and sellers just have to be more strategic with pricing. But sales are still moving forward. We have a good steady market, and we're expecting the same for this coming year too.
Awesome. Yeah. Looking at, I have some overall statewide stats here from each island, and looking at each island individually, Oahu was definitely the leader in terms of number of sales and sales strength, right? So you saw an increase of 9% overall on Oahu, 4% decrease in the Big Island. There was a 3.8% increase on Kauai, and a 12% decrease in Maui. So Mike touched on this. Let's go to Mike on the Maui market. I mean, the condo instability has definitely been part of it, but what else is happening overall that you're seeing on Maui, and kind of summarizing what 2025 was like?
So again, condo sales have been greatly impacted, right? The median price dropped by 40%. I believe right now the median price is just over 600,000 for condos. And again, if we look at a year ago, or sorry, it's a little over 400,000, and it was closer to 700,000 last year. Residential market hasn't been impacted as much. The median sales price is fluctuating between 1.2 and 1.3, and that held steady all of 2025. So again, Bill 9 is really impacting the condo market here, because we get a lot of investors that come in and want to buy these as investment properties and or second vacation homes that they'll visit a few times a year and then rent that out to kind of cover some of the expense and recoup that overhead. So it is definitely the stigma of all these vacation rentals won't be allowed to rent anymore is killing the condo market here. But like I said, it's not necessarily impacting the residential market.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's been the case all along. I think is like the low inventory on Maui, and the demand has always been strong for residential, and just that vacation rental instability has been crazy over there. So what's happening
Even
on
in those,
Kauai, Kat? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, even in those hotel zoned complexes, right? Remember,
Yeah.
the ones that are not on the chopping block, that have no potential to be banned from being rented. Sales in those prices have dropped. Days on market has increased. Number of listings has increased. So again, it's just that clouded stigma out there and lack of knowledge out there. So as us as agents here on Maui, we need to be educating our clients and our audiences to say, hey, it's not every complex that's
Mhm.
impacted. And honestly, if you were really paying attention to the market, now it's a buyer's market, and definitely in those hotel zone properties, because those have no risk of ever being phased out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the other bright spot was Kauai in terms of up for number of sales in 2025. What reaction do you have to that, Kat?
Well, our numbers are much less than any of the other islands. We're a smaller island. We've got way less inventory. But as far as single family homes here, the median price in December, it came in at 1.25. That's the median price for single family homes. And that's up about 18% from November's, but it's from last December, from last year, it's up about 13%. So our price point is a little higher. But 2025 ended pretty strong for single family homes. For condos, our condos here, the median price is 720, and that's about a 2.5% rise from November, but 5.8% higher than last December. So those condos are that median price is rising, and it's climbing, but it's kind of steady growth. So it's not just like a straight shoot up. With vacant land, it dipped a little bit. It was almost a point percentage down from November to 825. But year over year, the land, it was a massive growth, 33% up from last year. So fewer sales, but they're selling at a much higher price point.
So 33% increase in the median price for land.
In the median price since
Wow.
last year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, but here in Kauai, it's a niche market. So it's like you have these pieces of land that are selling for like a lot of money, right? And then smaller pieces. So it just kind of like, it levels out, and our market is leveling out more. So right now we've got about 5 months of inventory. So inventory is still, it's
technically still seller's market, right? If we're under 6. So
technically.
Technically.
So but the market from the slide you showed before, it is increasing from, last year and the year before. It's just a steady climb. And that's kind of historically how it's been.
I'll cover inventory here in a second across the state. So let's go to the Big Island. Since we got the Big Island, this is the overall number of sales for 2025 up. We were down almost 5% in terms of number of sales. So it was a lower, right? 23 was a pretty slow year. 24 was slower, and 25 was even slower. So is that how it felt, Misty? What do you got to add to that?
It totally did. And you just, you hit everything on point. And just a little bit of what Ashley said and also what Kat said, Kat, you mentioned that your median on Kauai for the condos is 720. That's approximately with what we have here on Hawaii Island. And I particularly loved what Ashley said, where sellers, again, getting strategic, buyers getting creative. And Dylan, you put all of this into the best perspective when it comes to numbers. I'm definitely feeling the same thing as your chart shows.
Cool. Yeah. So I wanted to, quickly, you guys all touched on this, right? But just to show a summary of what the inventory growth has looked like over the last couple of years. So this by island breaks down the increase in listings numerically and then overall percentage wise per island. So if you look at Oahu, and this is just that 27% is the increase from 24 to 25. The 12% for the Big Island is an increase from 24 to 25. And then Maui, like Mike was saying earlier, almost a 40% increase in the inventory overall. And Kauai was actually Kauai and Big Island are kind of tied around 12, 13%. But inventory is definitely higher. It's been growing steadily since really mid 2023. But I always bring everybody back to the historical perspective of 10 years ago in a very similar stable market, there was significantly more listings on the market across the board than there still was today. So we're not back to pre-COVID levels yet. If you look 2015, 16, 17, 18, a lot of times we're at like 60, 70% of what the listings were back then. So although in the short term, it looks dramatic, really in the long term, it's still historically low levels of inventory. Anybody got anything to add on that perspective wise?
Not on inventory, but everyone touched on the median of the condos for their islands, which were in the 700s. Just for perspective, Oahu's condo median is 512,000. So we still have affordability and inventory. So buyers, come on over. We've got lots of houses. We've got lots of options.
Yeah, absolutely. That seems like a great deal, right? $500K for a condo in Oahu. That's very achievable for sure. What about so on the other islands, are we pretty much at what do you guys? I know Mike mentioned the median price on Maui. What are we doing median price for Big Island and Kauai for condos? Do we know off the top of our head?
The median was 720 in Kauai. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Same, ditto.
Yeah. So that's a good perspective. Where on the flip side, us Big Island folks always got to advocate. You can actually get a house on the Big Island for 500,000, which is not really a thing on the other islands.
Okay, right? Okay, dude, stop rubbing it in. Okay, we got the Blaisdell and we've got the Shell.
We always get into this, right? Which is the best island? So
I think everyone real fast. What is the median for your single family on Oahu? We're at 1.1 right now.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
1.25. How about that?
Wow.
Right?
Mike, Misty, what's the median for single family?
500 is what I show on here. 550. Yep. Dylan, would you agree?
Yep, 500. Yeah, it's normally what it is. I think for
silence.
Yeah, well, we got condos, and
you could get a hotel room here for 550.
Yeah, there you go.
Mike, what was the median for Maui? Single family?
It was 1.2.
Yeah, so it's
2025. It bounced back between 1.2 and 1.3.
So pretty similar on all the islands except for Big Island in terms of residential, right? You're looking to spend $1 million for, and you can even spend 800 on a fixer. So that's, very one unique thing about the Big Island market is you spend a lot of money on a fixer upper. So, hey, wanted to spend real quick, bring in Alex here and shout out Alex. Good to see you, my man. Thanks for always watching. He's a regular watcher of the show. Glad you are here also. All right, let's get into talking about, we got a couple of questions that were pre-submitted. If you're watching live and you have a question, just put it in the chat. We always prioritize taking those live questions first, but we also have the ability, if you go to liveitinhawaii.com, one of the forms on the website is a form to submit a question, and then we add it to the show agenda. So that's always what we prioritize talking about, is what you guys want to hear about. So the question today, which is very I guess timely because of all the stuff that we've already been talking about, is this question asker has asked, what I've heard, it's been particularly wet in the winter. How does that affect living here or buying? So let's just go down from the top to the bottom. Start with Ashley. Is the winter wetter than normal? Colder? Like what's it like here, and how does that affect buying or living here?
Yeah, in my experience, rain is pretty wet, and therefore more moist. Uh, yeah, it gets a little colder. And honestly, we need a little switch up, because then it would just be like, how would you work? How would you focus? I mean, without like slightly gloomy overcast days, every day would just be perfect. And then that just doesn't seem like reality. So I enjoy the rainy weather. Now, if you're in the mountains, it actually does get really cold. Kidding aside, there are fireplaces like on Oahu. We have a Senta Island. There's a Wahiwa and Mililani. They still have fireplaces in those spots. I would need like hand warmers and put my daughter in a fleece onesie when she was little, because it would be so cold. But then you just go out into the sun and you warm up, and it's great. But the grass has never looked better. The mountains are green. In the summer, everything does brown up a bit.
Yeah, do you feel like, or do you guys feel like this winter has been wetter than other winters?
Yeah, it's been pretty. I mean, early on, I would say in past winters with heavy, we would see maybe even come like February get pretty rainy randomly, like February, March. But for being November, December, I would say it's probably, in my 16 years here, been a pretty wet one.
And of course, this is all has to be preferenced with where you live on the island, right? Ashley lives primarily on the east side of Oahu, so she's gonna see more rain than the west side, and that's true of all of the islands. So that's definitely one perspective always to take into account. Where are you, Mike, on Maui, and what has your experience been this winter versus previous ones?
So I'm in South Maui, which is definitely the drier, hotter side, very similar to Kona. And without actually pulling up the rainfall statistics, I will say that it's significantly less than I've seen it in the 6 years that I've been here. Um, we finally got some rain 2 weekends ago. Again, I don't know how many inches fell. I wouldn't even, maybe a quarter inch. It wasn't a significant amount. And typically, what happens in November or December, January is we get a bunch of rain in Kihei. We'll get a bunch of rain up on the East Maui Mountains, Haleakala. All that runoff will come in and flood parts of Kihei, and we haven't gotten that this year. So Kihei, south side of the island, definitely much drier than years past.
Yeah, and I think in the perspective of the last couple of weeks, it's been actually we've had this like weird storm moving through, right? And all I think on all the islands, it's been awkward weather, which isn't
It,
normal. So
it definitely was cloudy for several days, but it still was only like it's still 78 degrees and cloudy. But no, I don't live east side out in Hana. They might have gotten a bunch of rain, but I can only speak for the South Maui region, and yeah, it's the rain's not hitting the ground here.
yeah. So the wettest place on earth is Kauai, right? We got the wettest place on earth there. So how's this winter been versus previous ones, Kat?
The wettest place on earth, Mount Wa'aleale. So, I mean, and honestly, I kind of feel bad because I've been off island for these past 2 weeks, so I haven't really been paying attention to the weather here on island. But forever when it comes December, January, I just prep for wet feet. I mean, on Kauai, I live in Kalaheo, which is south, but upcountry Kalaheo, south upcountry going towards west side. We get rain like every day. So, I mean, they do say here on Kauai, if you don't like the weather, if it's rainy, if it's just dumping or whatever, just wait 10 minutes and it's going to pass. But in the winter time, it is just, it's more rain. It is a little colder, but I'm in Kalaheo. The elevation is higher, so I'm just a few degrees colder anyways from Poipu on the south side where it's mostly drier and sunnier. West side is the hot side. I mean, yeah, every island has its microclimates depending on where you are on the island. So I don't see it as any wetter than before because it's always wet.
And would you agree, like, because Kauai doesn't have the big mountains, that you don't get as much of the dramatic difference between the east and the west side? Or is it wetter on the east side than the west side?
It is drier on the west side.
Okay.
East side is also, I mean, east side, but then once you get Mauka, it's just more wet. Once you get more towards the, inland Mauka
Yeah.
side, it just gets more wet. And then Princeville is just always kind of rainy and you
Yeah.
just kind of have to go with it. But if you look, I mean, if you look on your weather app or whatever, it's always going to say it's raining on Kauai. Always, 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 always. No matter where you are, it could be sunny where you're standing and it says raining on the weather app. So don't trust those.
And I think since you got two big islanders here, Misty and I live like 10 minutes apart from each other, but she lives near the water and I live up in the mountain. And so definitely I think we have two different perspectives on this. But what is your perspective, Misty? Has it been a wetter winter than normal?
Yes, for sure. Definitely. Yes, as Dylan mentioned, I'm closer on Ali'i Drive, closer to the ocean. Definitely wetter, but the grass has always been greener and it's actually cold when it's normally super hot in Kona. So I'm definitely loving it, and the beauty of being on Hawaii Island is we have so many of the different climates all on one island. So I just think that is just so beautiful and so special about our island. But yes, most definitely much wetter, especially today.
Awesome. So we didn't touch on this. We kind of breezed over this, but does the winter or the seasons affect the real estate market at all? Does anybody have any perspective on that?
I'd say not. I mean,
December had, like, I agree with Misty. We had one of our most aggressive bullish months of the year in December on Oahu.
Yeah.
And Hawaii is just always, known to just be beautiful weather year round, so then it's always a beautiful time to buy real estate year round.
Yeah, I always share that perspective with my friends in the mainland that when we go to events and things, is that we don't have that like winter slowdown, right? In most places, the market slows down considerably in the winter, and a lot of real estate agents just go on vacation. They don't work, for January and February. But I think definitely here, well, the flip side to that is you're definitely talking about vacation rentals and second homes and things like that. We get actually more activity during those months because that's when people are here visiting when it's cold somewhere else, and they're motivated to move, right? It's like the best thing to do is to come visit Hawaii in the winter and then think, I could possibly live here, and so they get some thinking about buying. But yeah, any other seasonal effects on the real estate market you guys have observed, or anything else?
The snowbirds come here and then they fall in love with the weather, and then they get the siren song of, yeah, I can live here, and yeah, I can rent it out when I'm not using it, and there's no real slowdown. I mean, you see, no real slowdown.
Yeah, I would agree with that on Maui as well. Without looking at the daily visitor arrival statistics, a completely subjective answer here is that it feels this year, 2025, the holiday season seemed much busier than 24 and 23 did here in Maui. And yeah, you get all the snowbirds coming in. We've got a lot of the Canadian visitors back this year. So I wouldn't say that there's been any slowdown in the real estate markets, probably uptick just a little bit.
Yeah, we have other weird things that actually can touch on this that affect seasonality, and like PCS season on the Oahu is a big one, right? When military people are moving, that affects the market.
I would say PCS season does affect our our market far more than weather does for here. So like May through August is also like an affecting people going on vacation, leaving Oahu, and then they maybe put some decisions on pause when they're taking, you know, their big breaks and stuff like that. But yeah, PCS military relocation season is our prime.
Like a random seasonal thing that happens in the Big Island that affects the market is Ironman. Like October is historically a slow month for activity because people are here for Ironman. They take every hotel room and every vacation rental, and they're not here to buy real estate. They're here to run around, right? So that changes the dynamic of who's visiting. But like anything else, when you look at something as a snapshot in time, you got to look at the other indicators and other aspects that affected it. In real estate, sometimes when people look at markets, it's like what happens in January actually happened in November, right? You got to look kind of 2 months back because it takes 45, 60 days for a real estate transaction to close. So a lot of times if you're looking at closed market data, it doesn't reflect what that the activity that month because it's a lagging indicator for what's going to happen in the future. So we got a comment here. Alex is adding in. He drove to the east side of Oahu in a convertible through Kahaluu, and it was beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. That's why we live here, right? You can be in your convertible all year round, no problem. So
just sometimes it'll be more wet inside the vehicle than others.
There you go. Yeah. It's never too cold. It's just a matter of whether or not, you want to get
Make
wet.
sure you know the button to push to like zoop at a red light.
But I will say, like, yeah, individually as agents, I think that we all are full-time realtors as well. And I think that's important to keep in mind because out of 1 million real estate agents, you know, there's only a handful that are actually doing this full-time and live and breathe real estate. So we particularly may be more busy and not see in our personal business as much reflection as seasonal markets. But there are quote seasons like on Oahu for that PCS season and summer season. May through September are typically our peak markets. So we do have peak and low, like January through March is a little bit more somber in September to December. But like I said, we also saw our bullish month in December historically. So there are definitions of seasonal markets here. We just might not feel it internally with this group, perhaps.
Perfect segue into our second question that we got here on the on jobs in the economy. And this is always a controversial topic, right? So let's share our opinions on this. Is tourism helping locals or mostly hurting us? And then the secondary question, if you want to touch on this, is will all these new taxes that we're talked about in the news rundown and fees affect residents too? So who wants to get us started? And Misty, why don't you get us started on this, being born and raised on the Big Island and having actually many years of working in the tourism industry and visitor hospitality industry?
You know, Dylan, it's twofold for sure. You know, I can always look at it professionally, culturally, you know, all the different aspects. And yes, being in the tourism industry for pretty much most of my life, you know, is yes, I definitely embrace the tourism industry. And I'm just super grateful for it. And without it, you know, a lot of our businesses that we're in, we wouldn't be able to thrive, you know, without the tourism industry. Of course, now culturally speaking is, you know, as long as you come with aloha, you know, to the island and what can you give the island more than take, those are always huge to me. And, you know, I'm always embracing it. And Dylan, if you can also enlighten, you know, you always talk about when locals, you know, commonly say that they can't buy homes here because, you know, tourism is driving the prices up and we can't do this, we can't do that. You know, you kind of hear that on the local side. You know, I really love how you enlighten all of us, you know, when you look at the stats, excuse me, you know, you put all of that into perspective. You know, help me out.
Yeah, we can touch on that. Yeah, for sure. So what Missy's talking about is like, if you look at the number of, and I don't know if people like equate tourism with like outsiders buying homes, but it almost seems like they're talked about in the same light. But the percentage of people with a non-Hawaii address that buy Hawaii property really has not changed over the last 30 years. So there's no increase in the percentage, and statewide it's like 80-20 20% buy from out of state, 80% buy with that have a in-state address when they purchase. It varies by island. Like Big Island and Kauai is more like 60-40, 40% buy from out of state. Oahu obviously is the strongest in terms of like people from in-state buying. But when you think about the grand scheme of things, and we've talked about this before too, right? Is that, and all of you I'm sure have experienced this in your real estate careers, is you sell a house to somebody, or let's start with this. You list a house for somebody who moved here 10 years ago and now is moving back to the mainland. That house is bought by somebody who is moving here, that had always had a dream of living here. They buy that house, and then 10 years later they sell that house to somebody else doing the same thing. So they're not necessarily displacing anybody, they're just replacing themselves 10 years previous, because that's a very big cycle in the market here. As people move here, it was their dream, and then they need specialized medical care. Their kids don't visit them. They have grandkids back in the mainland and decide to go back. So that's I think definitely just the reality, and the statistics is like it's not as black and white as I think people want it to be, where it's like outsiders are driving the prices up. But in net, what Mike, over on Maui, there's tons of tourism. On the net, do you feel like it's an overall benefit or overall negative to the local community?
I mean, look, if we look at the main economic industry here, it is tourism. Without the tourist coming, without the tourist dollar spend, you don't have an economy. Like, think about when a visitor comes
And you guys saw this after the fires, right? I mean, really not even recovered from it yet. I mean, all of the media about don't visit Maui, I mean, really hurt you guys badly over there.
My wife travels quite a bit to the mainland for business travel, and almost every trip she runs into somebody that goes, "Oh, we love Maui. We had a trip planned," or "Oh, we love Maui. We go every year, but we heard the locals don't want us there, so we're going somewhere else this year." It's literally almost every time she travels, she tells me how she's run into somebody with that similar story. So now we can get into the conversation of over tourism, right? I don't know how you put a cap on tourists. Hawaii is still a state within the United States, so we're open borders. You can't tell people not to come to a state in a country you live in. I think a big push with the vacation rental phase out is trying to push visitors and keep them in more tourist focused areas. Again, how you do that? Well, most of the activities are near the beach, are near the resorts. So the reality is getting any other industry that would drive a workforce here is going to be challenging. I think people always say, well, we'll get tech companies to come here. Okay, well, first the land, they got to buy the land. They have to get permits to build an office space. That takes a lot of time. Then if it's in manufacturing, we're 2,500 miles from the nearest coast. That's a big shipping cost. It just does not pencil out to have these industries here. Then we look at qualified workforce. Okay, well, let's say you do bring in a big industry like that. Now you're going to have to import a bunch of people from the mainland that are qualified for those jobs, which would then truly take more of the housing from the local residents, right? So it just doesn't.
It's more complicated
for the island.
Circle of life.
Yeah, it's more complicated than people want it to be. Kat, do you have anything to add to this?
I mean, yeah, it's there's always 5 different perspectives on the same focal topic, and it's just dependent on where your stance is on what it is, because yes, we are run our economy is run by tourism. Yes, tourism also employs a lot of locals. Yes, we wish we were not as dependent on tourism, but it is the cycle. Like Misty was saying, it's just a constant cycle where it's like we have to we're rolling with it, and if you can make it work in your own life, then you can make it work in your favor.
It's just the reality of living in a beautiful place, right? There isn't a beautiful place on earth that doesn't have a humongous part of their economy driven by tourism. So
for sure. And look at COVID, look at what that did to us during that time, yeah, you can't say that tourism definitely didn't hurt us back then. Our towns could not just survive just on the locals alone. It was tough. It was beautiful. We embraced it, but at the same time, everyone's definitely experienced the hardship there. And to me, it's just never been the same since then. So many things have just dynamically changed through our lives and our towns, and we can experience that now, of course, through the market.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I
So on the
don't think,
question of
and
of
arguably,
taxing,
tourism
yeah,
is necessarily a problem or controversially the problem. I think it's the lack and second, the way that the government is run is mismanaging funds grossly. It's mind-boggling how ineffective I'd say our local governments just handle basic tasks like road management and maintenance, and how they collect. We have issues on increasing taxes for non-residents when it comes to property taxes. We are going to increase, costs and fees for short-term rentals, and I bet you nothing will change for local residents when it comes to housing needs and infrastructure, and that is a government issue.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So on the taxes and fees question about it affecting residents, I always find it ironic when they try and say it's going to be like a visitor fee or it's a tourist fee or a tourist tax or whatever, because nobody checks your ID or there's no certification you're a tourist when you check into a hotel on whether or not you pay the transient accommodation tax, which is a tourist fee. So it absolutely affects residents. And whenever you have new costs put on businesses, businesses don't pick and choose who they apply and pass those costs onto. They apply them to everybody. And so it's always something that affects everybody here. It's not just there's really no way to just affect tourists. And so that's I think always a disingenuous way to market different new taxes, that it's just going to be on visitors, it's just going to be on tourists. And it's like that's never the case. So all right, anything else on this, guys, before we move on? We're cooking with
Well,
gas today.
well, with the taxes and some conversations I've overheard is the sentiment is a lot of tourist visitors are feeling that they're getting nickeled and dimed to death for
Mhm.
everything. I know starting January 1, you might know, Dylan. I don't know if it's just Maui County or if this was statewide, but they increased the transit accommodation tax 0.75%. So it went from 9.25% up to 10%. So, okay, you've got increased cost of travel, increased cost of lodging, increased cost of food, activities, and all other accommodations, and then a 0.75% increase on just sleeping somewhere. It's starting to make a lot of the visitors look elsewhere. They're looking at places like Mexico, the Caribbean, or even European countries. So it is starting to affect, I think, maybe those middle class visitors that come. Of course, we have the elites, that money's not an option, so they don't really care about those factors. But the tourism stops, people start coming because they don't find the value anymore, and that's just a trickle down effect for the main economy here.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, right? I mean, and I totally agree with you on that, where it's crazy if you stay in a hotel room now and you look at your bill, like the nightly rate versus what you get charged is, there's the transit accommodation tax, which yes is going up to 10%. Then you have the general excise tax, which is 4.7%. So it's basically you get charged 15% on top of whatever your nightly room rate is. Plus you got to pay for parking. Plus you got to pay for a resort fee, and I mean everything else. And it ends up being good luck finding a hotel room for like less than $400 a night. And regular folks just can't afford that. And you can go to Mexico and get $400 a night for your whole family, plus all the food, plus all the drinks you want, plus all the activities you want in an all
Yeah.
inclusive resort, right? So yeah. All right. Well, let's move on, guys, to our final segment of diamonds and deals, because we could just talk about taxes and government mismanagement in Hawaii all day long. So let's move on to something more fun and more positive. So our diamonds and deals segment. This is some property that everybody picked out that is something they want to feature that looks great. So we'll jump into the first one here. Whose is this one? This is on Maui, so this looks like Mike.
That one's me. This one has been on my personal hot list for quite a while. This property, 965 Hogback Roads, located upcountry Maui on Haleakala Mountain in Haiku. It's a 3-bedroom, 4-bath, just over 31 square foot home. It's listed right now at 3.595 million. But what's special about this property is it sits on 4 acres. So you do have some land that comes with this. You also have, if you look at the bottom left of the screen, you also have a cottage as well. Why they didn't paint it to match the brand new home, I don't know, but that's a great place if you have families staying. You can have them in the ohana versus in your main living space, or it could be used as rental income if you wanted to rent that at the cottage, the ohana out, and have the main house for yourself. It was built by a guy named Harry Rice. Apparently, he's a well-known architect on Maui. But I just love, personally, I love the modern design of it. I love that you get 3,000 square foot home and you get the 4 acres of land, so lots of privacy.
I love it. I love it. If you want to see it or get more information, reach out to Mike, guys. All right, we got this is where's is this? Oh, this is an old slide, right? All right. Oh, what you got, Ashley?
So this is not my listing. This is listed by Kelly Arita at Coldwell Banker on Oahu. And this is on the southeast side of Hawaii Kai. It's in a neighborhood called Kalama Valley. And it was a new listing. It just came on market yesterday. So I was going through daily and I was like, oh, I love this one. How can I find a buyer for this? Because it's a rim lot, meaning there's no rear neighbors. You have a drainage canal. And then right behind that, you have the golf course and then ocean. As you can see in one of those photos in the near distance. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but it has a bonus area and a pool, but the privacy, the neighborhood is wonderful and the price is really reasonable for what you're getting here. So it's a little over 8,000 square foot lot. The home is a little bit over 1,700 square feet and it's listed under 1.8 million and has a laundry room. We don't have those. Normally we might have
The moms are all excited now.
Yeah. You see everyone light up. You're like, wow. Those are usually for like luxury properties. And I know 1.8 is a high price point, but that's not necessarily like a massive luxury caliber. So to have an entire room for laundry on Oahu is rare. And it also is a pantry and has a fridge in there too. So I love that laundry room a lot. And room for a hot tub, lots of parking, cul-de-sac. Everything about it. I really like this home. Lots of natural light.
Yeah, check out all those cabinets in that room. Like
cabinets, laundry room,
yes.
parking.
Let's go.
Cool views, privacy, cul-de-sac. Check.
Love it. So,
all right. Well, Dylan, I should probably note that listing that I presented is not my listing either. It's actually Josh German's with Hawaii Life.
All good. Hey, we're helping them out, right? Finding buyers for their stuff, so they should be happy. All right, Kat, what you got?
Well, this was my diamond find, and it's not listed by me either, but it is a fellow EXP, listed by fellow EXP agent. This is on Anidi Vista up on the North Shore in Kilauea. And I just thought this was just such a beautiful home. I mean, yes, it's up in the luxury sector where it's 4.995, but it's 4 bedrooms, like 2.5 baths on 2.5 acres, overlooking beautiful Kalihiwai Bay, and it's just gorgeous. And it's the pictures are actually virtually staged, so you can put in your own style of furniture, but it's just, I just loved it. I was like, oh my gosh. It's been on the market for 58 days. It's, the living area is almost 3,500 square feet. So it's just room for stargazing, whale watching, all of that good stuff you get here in Hawaii. So that was my diamond. And then the next one is the deal.
Oh, you got a deal too. Well, I wanted to ask about this. So is there like close water access? It looks like kind of a cliffy area.
It is. So Kalihiwai, or Kalihiwai Bay and Anini Vista, there is access, but you have to, it's a cliff, so you do have to do a hike.
Okay.
But there's little trails that you can go down to the beach there.
Love it. All right, so Kat's got a bonus deal for us too.
Bonus deal. So this is the deal. So that was my diamond, and this is the deal. This is it is a condo unit, a 1-bedroom, 2-bath condo unit in Princeville. So yes, you can use it as a short-term vacation rental, and it is priced almost $100,000 below assessed value. So this is a deal. It performs well. And we have the rental history to provide for you if you're interested in that. But the Cliffs at Princeville is just resort living at its best. You've got lagoon style pool, 2 hot tubs, tennis, pickleball, shuffleboard, all of that good stuff, putting green, fitness center, barbecue areas. So it's all on the North Shore.
What's the maintenance fees?
The maintenance fees for this one, I should know it off the top of my head, but I
Oh,
don't.
if Ashley's
Sorry.
on, she was always going to ask you. You always got to know the maintenance fee off the top of your head.
I should know that, right? Yeah, right. So
pop
monthly
quiz.
maintenance is $977.
That's really low. Is there any special assessment?
At this moment, no.
Fully insured?
To my knowledge, it is fully insured.
What's the cap rate?
I'll get back to you on that one.
What design are the floor panels?
But yeah, this is the deal that I saw, and I'm like, yeah. Anybody
Love it.
interested? If you want your short-term vacation rental on the North Shore in Princeville,
Ashley's going to buy it.
Ashley's gonna buy
I mean,
it.
if I'm asking follow-up questions, it's because I think it's a deal. So
Yeah,
I want to know.
and I will get that to you.
Love it. All right. We actually don't have, I had Misty come on short notice, so we didn't have a Big Island property prepared, but we
I put one
will
on.
next time.
Dylan.
So,
Go check it out. I put a diamond on there.
Wow, Missy,
so wait, okay, start talking about it. Let me do a refresh here and
Yes, for sure.
technology. Go ahead.
This one here, as you'll see soon, definitely a diamond. It is located near my home in Keoho. Loving the entire location, but it is comparable to Cat. Your price line, I swear we're twinning today on all the things. So it's at 4.995, and it's just absolutely beautiful, and it overlooks He'eia Bay. And it is.
Here we go. I got it.
You got it? 5 bedrooms, 4 bath. Land area is just over 26,000. There you go. And the living is 2,900. Just a little under 3,000, but it's absolutely beautiful. I wish we could buy it. And the beauty of this, which was so special to me, is you can see the Holua slide. If you look Mauka, more mountain area, you have a complete view of the Holua slide. And that's just so beautiful. And it runs through Holua. I mean, it's on Holua. So culturally speaking, it's just
tell us what the Holua slide is, Misty.
So you guys, I'm sure you've seen Chief of War and all the Hawaiian makahiki games, but it's a slide that goes from like Mauka to Makai, from mountain to ocean, and it's legit like sledding, but Hawaiian style. You lie on your tummy, on your belly, and you like literally ride down the slide. It's crazy. Go look it up. It's pretty amazing. And
it's very dangerous and not at all how we slept on.
I didn't leave that. I didn't put that on.
We like to go on our butts face up and
Right?
face down.
It's crazy, but it's just so amazing. Like when you just envision, your kupuna doing these things, it's like, oh my gosh, tell my kids, you can't do that. Don't try that at home.
And the Holua slide in Keoho, when you look at it, this is not a grassy hill or knoll. This is like rough lava rocks.
Yeah,
So,
crazy.
yeah, it's hard to imagine what they were thinking, but and I guess they used to actually cover it with like banana stump and tea leaf and stuff, right? So you could
because that just like aids the terrain
yeah,
there.
yeah. Because I mean, I was not gonna slide down like hard lava rocks, but yeah, cool. Yeah, no, this is definitely one of my favorite areas on the island. And actually, I don't know, Misty, if you know this off the top of your head, but there is a resort node in this area. So there are actually some single family homes where you can vacation rent. I'm not sure if this one is in it or not. Do you know?
I do not.
Okay.
And funny story is, my cousin used to be an owner of this house,
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy, but I know it was being utilized for vacation rental, whether it was short-term, long-term. I don't have that answer, but it is listed by KW.
That's one option. I mean, definitely something to look into if you want a residential vacation rental. This is one of the rare areas that isn't inside of like a gated community, super ultra luxury neighborhood it is in the resort node, because this is where the Keoho, the outrigger is in Keoho, and there's some lots of kind of resort type things in this area. But this is a killer. This is definitely a killer one. Cool. All right, guys.
Dylan,
moving. Yeah.
I really love what you did, Kat, with your diamond in your deal. And I feel like I'm gatekeeping if I don't say this diamond real fast or this deal, because I presented a
Fire
diamond.
away. We got time. Let's go.
Okay. selfishly, I'm going to go look at it myself today. But if somebody else wanted it, I would absolutely step back. It is in Wahiawa, where I mentioned on Oahu. It's in the center of the island. It's 5 units. So it's a multifamily legal apartment that has 4 studios, and then a separate single family house. It's 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. And it's listed for $868,000.
Wow.
What a deal.
I
Wow.
know, it's such a
You'll
good
go
deal. I'm
get it.
going today to look at it because I wanted to buy it, and I felt really guilty, like I was gatekeeping this wonderful deal, and I don't ever want to do that. So if
Ashley,
anyone,
like, what's the competition on that? Do you have a temperature check on that? Because that sounds crazy awesome. I think everybody be all over it.
I know, and so I'm so lucky, knock on wood, this realtor did not post it on all of the residential. She only posted it under multifamily and commercial, and not a lot of people check under that listing. And 2, she's a commercial broker. And 3, knock on wood, it is technically anything anything above 4 units is commercial property. So you have to get a commercial loan for it. And so I'm hoping that that knocks out some of the competition. But today was the first showing allowed, so I'm piggybacking on it, and I already got my pre-approval and for the commercial loan. But again, if someone has cash, which I mean, some people do, or if they also want information, I can get it to you. I just got the marketing packet. So hopefully competition is not too fierce because I'm putting an offer in today.
Awesome.
I love it. I love it. There's your tip of the week, guys. Don't miss it. All right, let's bring it to a close here. If you found us through our newsletter or you are not on our newsletter yet, go to livinginhawaii.com. It is your absolute best resource for all things living in Hawaii. We have the content from this show in addition to our weekly shows where you got experts talking about all of the really small, specific niche things about living in Hawaii. We got estimators on how to move here. We got a quiz on whether or not Hawaii is right for you. So if you haven't been to livinginhawaii.com, check it out. We're actually going through an entire refresh right now, and hopefully by the end of February, we'll have an entire new site. Much of the content is moving over, but it's going to be a new layout. It'll be a big refresh because it's been about 10 years since there's been a refresh on that website. So check out livinginhawaii.com if you haven't yet. And let's get into our closing thoughts. So who's first? Ashley's first. What you got for us?
Well, this was from my last show and I forgot to update it.
Oh.
But you know what? New year, you don't know. So I'll just read it. We don't always get to choose the path. We get to choose how we walk it. So life is all about perspective, and we can't control what happens to us, just how we react to it. So just stay in that positive mindset and your life will automatically be brighter.
I love it. I love it. All right.
So this is mine because coming back from Atlanta, just on the plane ride home, like a 24-hour travel ride from Atlanta back to Kauai, I was just, and then coming and doing this Living in Hawaii show, I was just like, oh my gosh, it's all about gratitude for the land, for the people, and for the chance to call this place home. It just felt so good to come home. So that's my little tidbit.
The best part about leaving is coming back, right? Love it. Yes, yes. Is this somebody's or is this an old one? This might be an old one. Misty.
That one's me. So yes, I have faith. Keep going, stay strong, don't quit. God got you. And of course, aloha living everywhere you go.
I love it. I love it. Mike, I don't think you made a slide. You got anything for us? Final thoughts?
You didn't tell me to make one of those slides. But,
I know. This is new host. I mean, things are all messed up, but hey, we got through it all right?
That's all right. I had a good time. So I don't have a slide for you, but I do have a quote that I'll just share. It was actually an Alex Hormozy quote, but a friend shared this with me 2 days ago, and where I'm at in my career and life, it really resonated. And the quote is, "The sooner you accept that it's going to take longer than you want, the sooner it happens faster than you expect."
I love that. Absolutely agree with that. 100%.
Yep.
All right, and I got for you guys my son. He knows that I'm into these kind of things, and so he found this somewhere on Instagram or whatever. He said, "Dad, I got a good one for you." So I had to feature a shout out to Mason on this one. But he said, "Choose people who want more for you, not from you." And you guys all embody that. Thank you guys all for being on the show and always contributing to the community, because there's so many folks that benefit from this. So I think that's all I got. Yeah, that's all we got today, guys. Perfect timing. It's 10:59. We're right on time. We made it. All the tech worked. We got, again, to remind you guys, this is a every 2-week show. So we'll be back on January 23rd. Go visit livinginhawaii.com and put in your questions. If you got stuff that you want us to address, always appreciate you guys watching and supporting the channel. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Let's go around the horn, starting from the top to bottom, and say aloha. Misty, go ahead.
Aloha, everyone. Have a blessed day. Thank you.
Kat,
Happy Aloha Friday, everyone. See you next time.
Mike,
Hey, aloha, everyone. Have a beautiful weekend ahead.
Ashley.
Happy New Year, everyone. Aloha.
Right on. Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thank you.